Frankie, we are crap. We were crap last week. Both of us. Crap. Terrible. Rubbish. Low scores. Not good.
Wasn't good, was it, mate? It wasn't good at all. The way I see it, though, Geo, we were average. 117 was the highest points haul. We were at 49, 52. Nice and average, mate. Nice and average.
Yeah, well, the average was 54, so I think we're slightly below average. But it's
a couple of points here. What's a couple of points between friends, Geo?
Yeah, I mean, on a bad week, if you can get 52 on a bad week, I don't think it's the end of the world. But red arrows for me, all down that left column. Red, 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 red. Unhappy. So I've made changes, plural. I have made 3 transfers and I have gambled.
You're like Lopetegui at half time, mate, aren't you?
It's worse than that. It's braver than that. It's that this would be like Lopetegui subbing off Bowen, Kilman, and Edson Alvarez at halftime. That's the equivalent of what I've done. I've gone bold and brave. But apparently the fortune favours those people. So we'll wait and see, because I have sold Erling Haaland.
Ooh.
Before we get on to that and reveal, because I'm going to upset you.
There's going to be Chelsea players galore here. There's at least Nicholas Jackson, that's for sure.
I cannot confirm nor deny. That's coming up in the show. But first, I want to start with your team, because I'm not noticing much changes. I don't think you've done any transfers yet, Frankie. This is a team.
There's one. Smith Rowe has come in. Or did I know? Smith Rowe's already been there, isn't he? So, yeah. No, I did think I'd made a transfer, but maybe I haven't.
I don't recognise one. I don't see one, so I don't think you have yet. You maybe been debating it, unless you sent me the old team. But still, I thought you were maybe going to roll the dice this week, actually, Frankie. A couple of bad weeks, but also, Gakpo scoring midweek is not good news for Luis Diaz. And Nketiah didn't start last weekend. So you've got a couple of players in there who, well, Luis Diaz in particular, costs quite a bit of money. I'm not sure he'll be playing. Calafiore's injured, so he's quite an expensive defender. You've got unavailable. So you've got a few red flags, I would say, in your team, but you've not done anything as yet.
No, I've got more than a few red flags, mate. It's a bit of a problem. Yeah, I mean, I've only got a transfer available, so that's not great. So I can't make too many changes either. I'm struggling a little bit and can't. What the problem that I'm having is I'm having a look at what players I'd bring in. I'm having a look at the fixtures. I'm like, right, so what changes would I make? And I'm just not very inspired by anything else either. But what you can't have is, like you say, some big value players who are either not starting or are going to be injured and out. So I do need to change things. But I don't know what I would change right now. It's really, really tough.
Well, if you're watching at home, you're thinking you should do this, Frankie. Get rid of this player, bring this player in. Let us know in the comments. Well, I'll tell you what I think. I said it last week. I say it again. I think invest in at least one of Worcester or Mbeumo or Brentford. Fulham away this weekend. Then they've got Bournemouth at home, Everton away, Leicester at home. Then they've got a tricky little run with Villa, Newcastle and Chelsea, but then they come back with Forest, Brighton. So for the next month, I think your Brentford, those two in particular, are big assets. I stay away from the Brentford defenders. I don't trust them. They shipped 3 to Ipswich last weekend as well. So avoid your Brentford defenders, in my opinion, but go for Mbeumo or Wissa. Mbeumo got 2, Wissa got 1. They both returned last week against Ipswich, and I think they could return again. Everton have got nice fixtures. Fulham have got really kind fixtures. Brentford at home, Palace away, Wolves at home. So maybe you've already got Smith Rowe in there and Robinson. So you've already got your Fulham assets. And Wolves, I think, I've got a nice little run here. Palace at home, Southampton at home, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Everton away, West Ham away, Ipswich at home, Leicester away. Things aren't going great for them, but I've watched a lot of Wolves, and I have to say, I don't think the results reflect how they've been performing. I think they've been better than the results suggest. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 Wolves assets you can pick up, but word of warning, if you were to pick, I'm going to test Frankie here, hopefully he picks the right guy. Sending it to you through my mind games. If you were to pick a Wolves defender, who would you pick?
Oh, Who would I pick as a Wolves defender? Who?
Yeah. Aït-Nouri, right?
Okay.
He's on 4 yellow cards, so just beware. 5
Why would
yellow
we
cards
pick
and you're
Aït-Nouri,
suspended.
Geo? Come on, educate me.
Attacking
Educate me.
returns. Have a look at. Go have a look at. You've got the app there, haven't you? Go have a little look and look at his attacking returns. He's good for goals and assists, really, but he gets forward a lot. But the problem is he's on 4 yellow cards, so there is that risk of a suspension with a 5th booking. So that is a little bit, but he's quite low cost as well. So I think maybe he's one way of getting in a Wolves defender into your team if you want to. Is there anyone on your watch list, Frankie?
Is there anyone on? Like I said, Gio, I'm sitting here with
Struggling.
a real lack of inspiration, and it's not just because of players and form. It is because of the run-ins for teams at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just there's no one really that stands. Like you say, Fulham to me is the team that have a nice run. You know, at the moment you're trying to look for the informed teams. I think Spurs are coming a bit good at the moment, but you know, with Aston Villa and Man City within the next 3 games, it's very difficult to pull the trigger on any Spurs players right now. Aston Villa have got a really, really tough run. I don't trust Newcastle at the moment, so that's not so good. I think Liverpool players stand out for me at the moment with Brighton, Villa and Southampton, because Villa's at home. Southampton's on the horizon. But again, just the way Brighton are at the moment, I fancy them to make it quite difficult for Liverpool. So, yeah, it's tricky. My little, what I'm watching, and I'm going to have a little watch of it this weekend, is to see what happens with Manchester United as well, because obviously they've come to life midweek, only against Leicester, obviously. But it seems like, I don't know, whatever was causing their players to not give it their all has now been moved away. And they have got Leicester in the Premier League and Ipswich on the horizon as well. So, you know, I'm keeping an eye. I'm not writing off Man United players like I might have done previously. So, but yeah, there's nothing really that I'm sitting here and calling as a standout player. Even with strikers, Gio, if you get rid of Haaland, who do you bring in?
Well, I'm going to reveal in a minute.
Watkins, tough run. Isak, tough run. Havertz, tough run. Nicholas Jackson, we've obviously spoke about before, which Gio managed to put me off of. But yeah, it's, I don't know. This is where you come into your own, mate, because you love picking out some right little.
I think Garnacho's one. Chelsea at home this weekend, so it's an easy game to avoid. But after that, like you said, Leicester at home, Ipswich away, Everton at home. That's Man U asset time, I think. Whether it's Van Nistelrooy still in charge, you know, they scored 5 during the week, so hopefully that's like a sign of things. Or Amarim's in, whichever. I'm happy with either, to be honest with you. But that run for Man U, I'm looking at thinking I fancy getting Garnacho in here for those 3 games, but not this weekend. So I've not brought him in yet. However, I think I might even dismiss how he does against Chelsea this weekend, even if he blanks. As long as he starts and gets at least 70 minutes, I think I might switch to Garnacho for Leicester, switching Everton. I feel like if you forget Man U for a second, just forget the whole shenanigans with Man United. It's important for context, but forget it a second. If I said to you, there's a team in the Premier League away to play Leicester at home, Ipswich away, Everton at home, you're getting those players. You're bringing in a couple of players from that team, regardless of who it is. I think the only thing that puts you off is because it's Man United, which is a very strange sentence to say. I'm going to forget that, and I'm going to be looking to bring in Garnacho, and if I need a defender, Mazraoui or Dalot might be on the list as well. But at the moment, I'm okay with I've not made a transfer at my defence all season. I did a little change with Rico Lewis in that to bring Anderson in, but my 3 main centre backs, in my formation, which is Gabriel, Trent, and Porto, have been there since day one. I've not transferred one of them out yet. Not sure I will. I think Bowen, though, You picked him out last week, went and got a goal, and he's been robbed of a couple of assists really in the Premier League as well with deflections. Caduce's goal against Spurs, Bowen crossed it, took a deflection. Caduce scores, no assist is given, but it's harsh. Nottingham Forest away and Everton at home. You're not tempted to bring in our skipper for that one?
I wish I'd have brought him in last weekend.
Yeah, he should have done really.
Hindsight,
and all that.
Have a good game, did he? Let's be
honest.
No,
but I think you have to remember, we watch West Ham. We don't necessarily watch, say, Fulham, but we'll happily pick up Fulham assets because of their run and what the players have done in the games. But we don't watch them, so we can't say, "Oh, Smith Rowe had a quiet game." We don't know. We haven't watched it. So I think if you were to take your West Ham specs off for a minute, you might look at Bowen and go, "Actually, he's doing all right. He's been unlucky with a couple of assists, and he's going to have a couple of goals as well." That's a player in form for me.
On that, Geo, though.
Go on.
I could say the same about Mr. Erling Haaland. And the reason that I wanted to bring in Bowen last week is because I just feel like he couldn't keep going on without scoring. Bowen is one of them players who will get goals. And if he has a few blank weeks, it's about time. Haaland is about time.
I think the difference is, though, with Haaland is he's very expensive. I think Bowen, you can afford to keep him. But with Haaland, I'm not. I think for me, I'll show you my team in a second. City have just got a lot of injuries at the minute. I just think the creativity's been reduced quite a bit. They've got a few issues in midfield, and I know Foden's available, but I look at Foden as more of a goal scorer than a creative player, weirdly enough. I think he's the guy to take the shot rather than necessarily to play that ball. So I think Haaland, even though he had an XG of over 2 against Southampton, so he should have really got more than his one goal. That's Southampton, just the worst team in the league. I just think now's the time to get rid of Haaland for me. And I've got, because of the free transfers, which is something you've actually inspired me here, because you kept saying you can roll these free transfers. If I can make sure I've got at least 2 in the bank, I can probably get back to Haaland pretty quickly. Literally with 2 transfers, I could get rid of one of my main other guys, one of my premiums, plus one of my strikers, and I'd be able to switch back to Haaland pretty quickly. Whereas in previous seasons, I've struggled because you can only have 2 free transfers. I'm like, right, I need to do these 2 before I get Haaland, but I still can't get him for this weekend. Whereas now I can do 3 or 4. If I save them, I can actually get to Haaland without using up any points and using a wild card. So, I'm looking at the fixtures: Bournemouth away, Brighton away, Tottenham at home, Liverpool away. Nottingham Forest are no mug, second defence in the league. And then you're up against Palace away, which is fine. We're now in December. So I think for the next month, he's actually got some tricky fixtures there. And I think there's maybe better value elsewhere. So would you like to see what I've done, Frankie? You could take a punt. I've done 3 transfers. Would you like to take a punt? I mean, I think 1 or 2 of them. So
I'm going Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah. Which I'm not confirming nor denying. I'm just acknowledging.
I'm definitely going Nicholas Jackson. You mentioned Garnacho, so I've got to go Garnacho. Who's the third? See, but the third's going to be some really random. You said you're going to make a trend to your defense.
I haven't yet. I'll tell you, it's not defender. Okay. I've not.
No, I was going to go Geo because I do actually watch Geo content. I'm a bit of a Geo fanboy when it comes to YouTube videos. You've been mentioning Milenkovic, so I don't know whether that might be someone on the horizon.
No, it's someone we've not even mentioned in this video yet. So here's my team for the weekend. This is what my 11 is going into this weekend. So Flecken in goal, Paulo, Trent, and Gabriel at the back. I've kept McNeil and Rodgers. I've had to get rid of Semenyo so I can move to Cole Palmer. And I've kept Salah in there. Nicholas Jackson. I brought in Cunha as well.
Cunha was one that I thought that was one you might do.
I just really like Wolves' fixtures, Frankie, and it's a bit of a long-term pick here. Palace at home, Southampton at home, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Everton away, West Ham away, Ipswich at home, Leicester away. I mean, their away fixtures are against defenses that concede goals usually as well. So they've got some nice home games and some nice away games. So I've gone and got Cunha in there. The one thing I'm a little bit anxious with is weirdly, it's not taking Haaland out. It's the fact that I've taken out Dominic Solanke. And they've got this weekend, they've got a tough game against Villa, but next weekend they've got Ipswich at home. So I feel bad not having a Spurs attacking asset for that fixture. But the thing is, Solanke's had 4 shots in 3 games, Frankie. You can't have a striker that's only getting 4 shots in 3 games. I just can't do it anymore. And he's quite expensive. And I'm disappointed because I was banging the Solanke drum. I got him in. He scored a goal that weekend. I always like it when you suggest a player in this video and he goes and scores in the next game. Like McNeil, I mentioned McNeil and he got a brace. I was like, oh, yes, justified. But yeah, so that's my team then. I've taken Jackson has come in for Haaland. Cunha's come in for Dominic Solanke, and Cole Palmer's come in for Semenyo, who I'm really sad to be transferring out. I've almost got an emotional attachment to him, but Man City this weekend as well, so it's not a great one for him. But not only have I done those transfers, I've saved 2.8 million. So I've now got 2.8 million in the bank, and I've still got a free transfer. So I've got wiggle room going into next weekend as well. What are you thinking? What's your...
I like it. I wish I'd have made these Chelsea moves earlier because I fancied them and didn't pull the trigger. But look, at the end of the day, it's not yourself and what you say. It's my team, and I should, there's just a few times where I've been fancying a move and just been hesitant and not done it. I should have triple captain Haaland when I said about the Ipswich situation.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I should have gone ahead with the Chelsea players because Palmer went on a massive run and Jackson started scoring goals. So I should have done that. So there are a few things that I should have done and just haven't. And that's kind of been my downfall so far. So I've got to be a bit more, when I get that gut feeling, make a move. That Cunha for Wolves, I think, makes perfect sense. He's pretty much their only option.
Takes pens, often takes corners as well. Usually, I think 6 of his last 7 games, he's played 90 minutes as well. So there's not a minute's threat. He scores goals, gets assists. There's not really... He was bandaged up after, like on Monday or something. He had ice packs on, but he was in training. He was in training footage yesterday, so I think he's okay for this game. So Wolves got really nice fixtures, and I think it's kitchen sink time for Gary O'Neill, Frankie. I think he has to win this weekend. So even if it's 1-1, I feel quite confident he's going to try and get that 3 points, which is always good for an attacking asset. A manager that's willing to go gung-ho, I think that's a good thing. If you've got a defender, maybe be a little bit worried. But I think when you've got the Wolves goal scorer and the manager's under pressure and needs 3 points, I think you're in a good situation. Now, there's obviously a risk that O'Neill gets sacked after this weekend and a new manager comes in, and that may play a bit of an issue. But I think Cunha is such a good player, the new manager would still use him. It's just a case of, does he use him as well as Gary O'Neill? I don't know, but it's a bit of a gamble.
No, I think it's right, Gio. And even if a new manager comes in, like I said, they don't have many other out-and-out striker options.
Just Larson, him and Larson, that's it. Huang's not very good at the minute. Sariba's back, but not quite done it at Wolves, I don't think. So I feel like he's a safe pick.
Yeah, no, I second that, mate. I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we've got the other chips to play at some point, and I've been very tempted because I need a bit of catch up. Is just to roll the dice somewhere. I've been sort of waiting just to look when I want to play that free hit or when I want to play the triple captain or bench boost. I'm glad we didn't pull the trigger with the triple captain last weekend. There was a lot of talk about it. I think neither of us really fancied it. So
no.
I think we've done the right thing there. But yeah, at some point I've got to try and catch up somewhere, and I've got to do some bold moves. And like you say, Haaland seems to be an obvious one, but I don't know. He can't keep having this barren run. At some point, he's got to get back to form. And
I think you've got to decide on Luis Diaz personally. He's quite pricey.
That was the worst move. My lodger, he's sacked. He's no longer the director of football. He has got to go. Giving me that tip was absolutely awful. But in fairness to him, at that time,
he was right. I agreed with him. Him. He was a Liverpool asset to have. It's just gotten off the boil, and now Gakpo's nicked his spot. So
yeah, Gakpo looks all right actually, doesn't he? He's looking pretty dangerous. So I need to make some changes. I bought Foden in. I really fancied Foden last weekend. Really fancied him. I just thought with the injuries that they had, that he would be given a bit of a license to be Foden, really. I really thought he was just going to be able to have a bit of a free run, to get attacking, get shots off, be creative, and just be...
Well, do you want to know a major curve? This is like a wild curveball, and I'm not doing it, right? So this isn't advice. This is just me saying something. So if it happens next week, I can say I told you. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Man City midfielder Nunez, if you want to go proper, like 100% gamble, he scored against Spurs during the week, and he might not even start this weekend, but he's actually looking like their better midfielder at the minute in terms of attacking outlet, and they've just got so many injuries at the minute. There's a good chance he will actually start left wing this weekend, so you're going to get a cheap Man City central midfielder starting left wing. But there's also a good chance he won't start at all, and he might not even get onto the pitch. So it's a 100% gamble. But it's one of them. These are the type of gambles, though, you make it and it works. That gets you points compared to everyone else in the league because no one else has got it. Part of the reason I've changed my team is because there's a few private leagues I was in. I was up near the top, but the people I'm competing with didn't have Haaland, and they've switched to Haaland. So I feel like we've got quite similar teams now. So I'm like, well, I'm never going to catch them unless, we've got our teams are so similar. I've got Dwight McNeil and they've got someone else. And it's like, I'm relying on Dwight McNeil to be the difference. So that's why I've got rid of Haaland and switched my team up so that I've got a chance of gaining spots in private league to try and win the thing, because I don't want to copy. Well, I haven't copied them. I'm not saying they've copied me. They've gone to Haaland like everybody did. He scored back-to-back hat tricks. You almost had to get him. And because they've done that, it's sort of, we had like 8 out of the 11, 8 players the same, and it's just boring. And I'm never going to win the league like that. So I'm being bold. I've gone for it. Transfers locked in. Come on, Chelsea at Old Trafford. Anyway, we shall leave it there. If you'd like to join mine and Frankie's league, you can do. The information's on the screen now. The league code is DQ0E52. Get that into the Fantasy League app. You'll join our private league. We've got a prize up for grabs at the end of the season for the overall winner. However, as we head into December, we'll have another little giveaway. So get your team in now. Get warmed up. You've got a few weeks. You've got November to get ready for December. Then in December, for 1 week only, we will see who gets the most points in that particular week, and they will win a prize. But Frankie, thank you very much. And
who is top of the league at the moment, Geo?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't clicked on it because I've been sulking all week.
Let's give them their little bit of praise. We've got Hammer Time, Will Green.
Will Green, well done. You're top. I'm coming for you, Will. Does he have Haaland in his team? Go click on his team. He's got Haaland. Have a look.
He did have Haaland in his team and was captain last week.
I'm coming for you, Will. Haaland is going to be your downfall. I'm coming with you. Nicholas Jackson and Cunha are going to fire me to the summit.
Only a 48 for Will Green last week, Gio. We both
better than him.
Yes, caught him up. I caught him up by 1 point. You caught him up by a couple.
Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammer's Chat. Myself and Frankie. Catch you next week.